any market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome back. Now, when you ask the average Nigerian, today how the economy feels, the answer often comes down to just one word, which is tough. We are seeing that the food prices are climbing, the naira keeps losing value, families are struggling to keep afloat. A lot of things seem to be going on when it comes to, Nigerians being able to survive in their own country. And so, the big question now is, how stable exactly is the Nigerian economy? Now, this morning, joining us to unpack this discussion is Nick Agule. He's a global economic analyst joining us via Zoom. Good morning and welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for welcoming me on your show.
All right. Now, first of all, I'd like to, know, millions of citizens are struggling with poverty and inflation and the likes, increased food prices. From your opinion, how would you describe Nigeria's current economic situation or position?
I think the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, gave an accurate description of Nigeria's economy as it stands today. Unfortunately, a lot of Nigerians perhaps misread her message and went about thinking that she was all praise for the President Tinubu's government handling of the economy. But I think Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala was very correct, and this is where I'm coming from. First of all, she said two things. So the first thing she said is Nigeria's economy has been stabilized. That's the first thing she said, and it's true. Then the second thing that she said, which perhaps a lot of people did not take time to listen to, given that they heard the word stabilize, is that she said the economy now needs growth, because it is growth that is now going to bring the jobs, to put money in the pockets of Nigerians. And she said, in addition, there needs to be a social safety net, meaning people who are being pushed to the margins of society, who are being made poorer as a result of the efforts to stabilize the economy, should be able to find some succor so that their lives will take on some meaning. And let me, I'm actually doing a paper on this, which I published later this morning. So let me share some of the ideas that I have in the paper with our viewers. So our viewers are getting this paper well ahead of the public who will read it later. I made an analogy, and the analogy I made was, if you go to the accident and emergency unit of a hospital, assuming a patient comes into that hospital, the patient is rushed in, the patient is losing a lot of blood, and if that situation continues, the patient is going to die in no time. What the doctors will do immediately is to stop the bleeding. And once they are able to stop the bleeding, in medical terms, that's what you call they have stabilized the patient. They've taken the patient away from the path of sure death. They've stabilized the patient. Stabilizing the patient doesn't mean the patient is now okay to walk out and start going home. No, they just took the patient away from danger to a point where they can now begin to examine the patient and find out what is the cause of the bleeding, and so that they can fix it. And that second process of fixing the cause of that bleeding can take a few hours, can take days, can take weeks, can take months, can take years, depending on the nature of the condition. So if President Tinubu is a doctor, what has he done? He has effectively stopped the patient from bleeding. But this patient is not well yet. So what then needs to happen is for this doctor to now begin to fix the fundamentals that cause the illness. So Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala was correct in the sense that we give pass marks to President Tinubu for stabilizing the economy. President Tinubu is failing on the second part, which is to bring growth. I can give you an example just to break it down for our viewers. Let's take fuel subsidy. Before President Tinubu came in, we always had the news out there that Nigeria is spending X trillions of naira on fuel subsidy. And we know that this fuel subsidy was full of criminality. So here was Nigeria bleeding. Nigeria was being bled. There was hemorrhaging going on, where some people who sat in privileged positions were draining money out of Nigeria in the name of fuel subsidy. So what did President Tinubu do? President Tinubu just stopped it, stopped that bleeding. So there's no more talk about fuel subsidy. So it's gone, right? What has the president now done to solve the real cost of the fuel subsidy? He hasn't done anything. How do I mean? The cost of the fuel subsidy was because Nigeria's 4 refineries with a combined capacity of 445,000 barrels were down. And because the refineries were down, that is how we started going to import petroleum products. And because petroleum products were being imported at high prices, that's why the government needed to step in with subsidy. What has President Tinubu now done in the past 2 years to fix Nigeria's refineries? Absolutely nothing. As we speak today, the refineries are a game that they are playing. Because if you recall, the group managing director and CEO of the NNPCL, which is Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, was in a forum, was that in Dubai, where they asked him the question, what are you going to do about the refineries? And he said, all options are on the table, including the sale of the refineries. Before that CEO will arrive back in Nigeria, the cabal had already ambushed him, to the point that that CEO used his own mouth to say, no, refineries are not on the table for sale. Sale is not an option. Can you see what is happening? And President Tinubu is there looking at these shenanigans. And why should he do something? The reason why he should do something is that in the process of stabilizing the fuel price sector, the fuel price jacked from under 200 naira to nearly 1,000 naira today. So that's put a lot of hardship on Nigeria. Yes, you have removed the criminality from the subsidy, but Nigerians are now groaning under high transportation costs, which is translating into high inflation. And the president has not moved with the same speed with which he moved to remove the subsidy in fixing the refineries. And this is what Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala was talking about. Mr. President, you've done well by stabilizing fuel subsidy, But you have not done anything with growth in the sector, because growth means we now have more petroleum products in the market so that there will be more jobs created. As we start today, is the Dangote refinery that is refining petroleum products in Nigeria. It is a monopoly. And I can assure you that a monopoly will never give us fair pricing unless they face competition. We could be buying petrol at 500 naira, 600 naira today, but Dangote will not sell it to us at that price because there's nothing that will push him into doing that. The only thing that will push him into doing that is if he sees other petroleum products in the market that are selling cheaper than his own price. So, I mean, we can analyze all of President Tinubu's policies on this premise of yes, you have stabilized it, but no, you have not dealt with the growth.
Okay, so thank you, sir. You said that the economy is stabilizing, and what the World Trade Organization director said is very correct, that we are stabilizing, but we need growth. That is quite understandable. But why is food, why is food inflation still at 27%? Why is our economic growth still at 3%? Why is there no increment? Why are we stuck at that point? What is happening with our economy?
What is happening to the economy and why food prices remain high is because there's lack of growth. So let me give you a second example. The second of President Tinubu's flagship policies is the unification of the exchange market or the foreign exchange market. So before President Tinubu came, there was several markets, and the official market, the so-called official market, people sold dollars at far cheaper than the unofficial market. For instance, I can give Nigerians the details. As at 29th of May 2023, when President Tinubu came into office, the official market was selling a dollar at 460 naira. The unofficial market was selling dollar at 750 naira. What that meant is that somebody who was privileged to lay his hands on dollars in the official market will just carry the dollars to the unofficial market and sell it there and make humongous profit. He went and bought $1 million from the central bank. They will debit his account with 460 million naira and give him $1 million. He immediately takes the $1 million into the parallel market and sells it for 750 million naira. This man has made 390 million naira profit without lifting a finger, without doing anything. He only used Nigerian dollars to go and make more money. That is what was happening. And that is what I mean by this patient has arrived at the hospital bleeding. They were bleeding Nigeria of money through that process. What did President Tinubu do? President Tinubu stopped the bleeding. So he unified the market. No more official market, no more parallel market. And those who were bleeding Nigeria, they had to stop. So that is okay. We stabilize the patient. What has the president now done to solve the problem of a weak naira? Because by attempting to stabilize the bleeding, the naira now rose from that 460 official or 750 unofficial to 1,500, 1,600 naira today. And because we are still importing everything, including food, What that then meant is that something that we used to import for $1, if it was officially would have been 460 naira, or unofficially would have been 750 naira, is today still $1, but costing us 1,500 naira or 1,600 naira. That's where the inflation is coming from. That's where the high food prices is coming from, because we're still importing food. So what has President Tinubu now done for growth in the food sector? Nothing. Instead, we have bandits that are still sending farmers away from their farms, in addition to what was happening before. If President Tinubu by now has succeeded in rescuing some of the farming communities, driving away the bandits, and today we are producing a lot more food, then the food inflation will be curtailed. Food inflation will be curtailed, and we'll begin to see a fall in food prices.
Mr. Agule,
Yes.
Mr. Agule, because of time, I know that this is a conversation that needs to be elaborate about. We need more conversations on this, but because of time, we're back to cut you short now. Thank you so much, Nick Agule, for joining us this morning on Signature Morning on Signature TV. Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure having you, Mr. Agule. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so very much, and have a nice day.
Do have a nice day. So coming up next is Political Circle by Luke Mbo. Do stay with us.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
I should try harder, so...
Okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hubs on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.